Here's our Common Craft video of Ma, the Mexican-American War by Ryan, Lily, Tessa, and Fresco.
The Ma Mexican-American War began in 1846 and ended in 1847. It all started after Texas won its independence from Mexico. The great United States decided to annex Texas after Congress approval. The Mexicans were pretty mad. Well, actually, they were extremely mad. To add on to that, both countries could not agree on the borders. Mexico wanted the border to be on the Nueces River, but the U.S. wanted the border to be on the Rio Grande. Both rivers were about 150 miles away from each other. The confusion between both borders was the beginning of this war.
One day, when the U.S. troops and the Mexican troops were patrolling, they thought was their border. Some
Chicos Mexicanos
crossed the Rio Grande. The Mexicans thought the Americans were invading. Sadly, they started shooting their handy-dandy weapons. They killed and wounded 16 American soldiers. 2 days after the attack, Polk declared war on Mexico. In May 1846, General Taylor led troops into Mexico.
Some Americans didn't want to go to the war with the Mexicans because they thought it was unjustifiable. They also thought that we didn't need any more land and we were just being a bully to Mexico. Nobody listened to those people, and the war went on anyways.
Not long after the war started, General Stephen Kearny and his troops left Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. With orders to patrol in New Mexico, they spent 6 weeks and 650 long miles on their way to New Mexico. Until they finally got there, then the general persuaded the Mexican troops to leave. After that, the general moved on to California, while the other troops kept heading towards Mexico. The U.S. was able to get New Mexico very easily without much effort.
In California, John C. Fremont led Americans to rebel against Mexican rule. They arrested the Mexican commander of Northern California, Guadalupe Vallejo, and put up a flag declaring California independent from Mexico. Kearny and his troops had to fight with Mexico for weeks until the U.S. had full control of California. The U.S. renamed California as the Republic of California.
Then the U.S. Army, under control of General Zachary Taylor, started the invasion of Mexico. They made their way down to the Mexican city named
Monterrey
and took it very easily. Once the city was under U.S. control, he made his way north, but was cut off by a Mexican army of 20,000 near a ranch called
Buena Vista.
The battle raged on for 2 days, and both armies had suffered many losses. Santa Anna was not going to risk any more of his men, so he decided to retreat south in hopes to prevent any more fighting. The fighting in northern Mexico was not over, and the U.S. was getting closer to Mexico City.
Meanwhile, another U.S. Army led by General Winfield Scott has been fighting for 6 grueling months into the heart of Mexico. When he reached the city, he faced a large army of 1,100 men. 1,000 of them were soldiers, and the other 100 were young military cadets. Many died, including 6 of the cadets who chose to fight instead of surrender when the Mexicans needed to surrender. After years of fighting, we captured Mexico in 1847.
Later on, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed. The treaty stated that the United States would get all of Mexican cession, and that was Mexican-American War was over. Years after the treaty was signed, the U.S. wanted the Gadsden Purchase. Gadsden Purchase was used as railroad tracks, but now it is at the Mexican and American border.
During this war, we claimed a lot of land from Mexico. We captured present-day Utah, Nevada, California, and parts of Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, and some parts of Colorado, granting us much more land to settle and new places that would soon become some of the most populated cities in the country. Manifest Destiny had to do with us wanting more land, and that is exactly what we got.